Alien Romulus is a brand new 2024 film that serves as the latest entry in the Alien franchise, whether you're counting the Alien Predator films or not. This is definitely in the same universe as Prometheus and Alien Covenant as well. This one specifically is taking place between Ridley Scott's Alien from '79 and James Cameron's Aliens. And I'm not sure exactly where in between it is, but it is definitely in between those two. And what we have going on here is we have this crew of very young space workers or planet workers that work for the same company that was introduced in the first Alien film, the original Alien film. And these characters, they look like they just turned 20, if that. Like all of them look super young. They look so inexperienced in their jobs or their experience in the battlefield kind of thing. Like they very much seem blue collared, everyday like planetary workers, like not your typical superhero action stars kind of thing. Let's just put it that way. But they want to. They're supposed. You have the main character named Rain, and she is due to kind of leave the planet and leave her work because all these workers are supposed to put a certain amount of hours in, and then they can go off and take a 9-year journey to go to another planet and basically, I don't know if it's not work anymore, but they're not enslaved anymore. You could say for lack of a better term. And she realizes that they won't let her leave because they've extended the hours, and even though she reached like 2100 or whatever, now she needs 2400, whatnot. And they decide to be rebels. She decides to be rebels along with a bunch of other workers, and they decide to steal a spaceship to get to a space station. They want to get to the ship to get to the cryo machine so they can take this 9-year journey. And there's this abandoned ship that they steal and take up there. And lo and behold, they end up in a ship filled with some xenomorphs and face huggers, especially. And there's a lot of face hugging and face huggers in this film. And they just end up having to fight against these alien creatures, these monsters, kind of landing in the nest of them. So this definitely goes back to the alien roots from Ridley Scott's Alien, and it definitely amps up the horror and amps up the claustrophobia and goes away from the action that Aliens took, and even some of the Prometheus and Alien Covenant films took when it came to the action side of things. This one primarily focuses on horror, and it is brutal. I love the face huggers in this film. I love how brutal they are. There's a lot of like penetration when it comes to them, especially orally, and there's quite a bit of body horror, more so than I saw in the previous Alien films. And Fede Alvarez clearly loved and loves the Alien franchise, and especially the horror-esque Alien stuff, because he not only paid homages, but definitely put that vibe and put that mood and that fear of like being trapped in a space station in outer space and being alone, and just being surrounded by creatures, and like no one's there to save you. Like it's just this paranoia, claustrophobia vibe that he geniusly did, and he's always a trustworthy director too. So I think Fede Alvarez, the moment I saw his name on something like this, I'm like, this guy is exactly the kind of director with the kind of vision that I would want to see in an Alien film, and he definitely delivers. The xenomorph is incredible. Everything is practical. I'm so glad that everything is practical. The xenomorph looks fantastic. There's two things that happen in this film that every review I've pretty much seen after watching the film, people say is extremely controversial. And there's two things specifically that split audiences a lot, and both, in my opinion, I actually loved both things and both scenarios that people are finding controversial. I can't get into them. I'm not going to mention what they are. But they're kind of, well, they're both, you can say, paying homage to the other films in ways. One more so than the other. And I think the addition of them and the way they were handled are really genius, and I think it works perfectly. And I don't think there's anything to say ruined or is unnecessary to put in this film. I think they're perfectly necessary and they're handled beautifully, in my personal opinion. Now, with that being said, there are some homages and throwbacks when it comes to dialogue and when it comes to saying something quirky and clever that, you know, relates to something someone said in the previous films. That can get a little cheesy, that can get a little corny, and that can get unnecessary. And there were a few moments where there's some one-liners dropped and I'm just like, okay, it doesn't work like it did before. Okay, you just can't do that, and that happens. So on that aspect of things, on that side of things, I will say that that was unnecessary. But the two specific things that people are complaining about that a lot of people don't like and took them out of the movie, that they add into this film, and where it really divides audiences, I'm on the side that loves it, and I think those additions were handled awesome and made this movie exactly how good it is. It just amped the film up, in my opinion. And I love the brutality of it, and I just love the horror of this film. The horror is amazing. The first act does take its time. It is quite slow paced. I was it was a little bit of a drag. It took I wasn't taken out of the movie, but I was kind of sitting there like, okay, like I'm ready for shit to happen kind of thing. There's a lot of slow pacing in the first act, and then you get to the second and the third and things just ramp up real quick, and you start getting everything going, and then you're like, okay, here we go, now we got some alien stuff going on. So there is that. You'll have to be a little bit patient in the first act, but other than that, some of the characters are annoying, but again, that comes with their youth. There's this character named Andy who plays an android, and he's the best android character in any Alien film. He's my fit. Like he's awesome. The actor's great. The actor portrays him great. His facial expressions are perfect. His character arc is perfect. The way he was written, the way he like delivers his lines, he is just great and believable, 100% believable. And he again, without going into spoilers, he changes a lot throughout the film, and there's situations that happen with him, with his programming and stuff like that. Like just it's part of the story, it's part of the plot that he has to kind of act different at different times. He's because of how his character is changing in the way people are programming him, kind of thing. That's as light as I can put it. But yeah, he always nails it. The actor, he always nails the believability of the way he's supposed to portray himself at all times. So I really love the character, and he's just so relatable. Like he's the non-human character that's the most relatable compared to all the human characters by far. He's awesome. But the main girl, Rain, who was also in Civil War this year, does a great job herself. Yeah, like there are at least half of the characters that do get on your nerves and are just, you know, there to be dicks pretty much. Some of them will test your patience for sure. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah, we're here for the violence and the alien carnage, and man, is it delivered in spades, and is the horror ever delivered in spades? Horror. It's a scary nail biter of a film, and I just had a blast with it. So that's Alien Romulus. I'm glad I finally got to check it out because it was high on my list for this year, and it's fantastic, man. It goes right back to its roots in the best way. So chef's kiss to Alien Romulus and Fede Alvarez for delivering such a great addition to this franchise, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's what I got. Definitely highly recommended. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.